Escargasco, thank you. My name is Paolo D'Avanzo from the Echo Park Film Center. Bueno. And
I'm Lisa Marr, also from the Echo Park Film Center in Los Angeles, California.
I think maybe you do a better job explaining. Yeah.
Well, the Sound We See project started in 2010. We always do free filmmaking classes for local youth in Los Angeles. We're a nonprofit center, so we invite people to tell their own stories on cinema. And it was a project that started as a free class for about 37 teenagers. The youngest was 11, the oldest 19. And we invited them to see their city through the eyes of a cinema idea that really started in the 1920s called the City Symphony. So this was when cinema was quite new and experimental, and people were excited about the urban environment and showing that on cinema. So we revisited that idea in a kind of a similar way. It was shot on 16 millimeter black and white, and each hour of the day was represented as a minute on film. And when the filmmakers were finished shooting, they worked with local musicians to create a score specifically for the screening, the premiere. And it was such an exciting project that it went out into the world, and now we've been doing it for the past 7 years. Yeah. And there have been 15 different city symphonies all over the place, and Pamplona is number 15.
A hands-on project, so we joked earlier that you don't need to speak English to be part of the journey. Yeah, how it works. So as Lisa beautifully said, 2010 was the first one in Los Angeles, which we'll play later today if people want to come see the beautiful film, and then 15 different incarnations. So the premise is always the same. We do not come to make films about people in their city. We just give them the tools to make films about their own city, about their own stories. They're the professionals. They know the alleyways, the images, and so it's not a tourist film. It's not Viva Iruña, Viva Pamplona. It's more about the subtleties, the slowness. Maybe where I had my first kiss, or maybe where my abuelito died, or little memories and fragments of time and energy and spirit. And so we've been here 2 weeks, so gracious of the city of Pamplona. We're so honored, and we've met with 24 individuals and artists. One is a retired teacher, we have a postman, we have students, we have artists, a really diverse section of humanity. And we went on a journey, a 24-hour journey where each hour of the day became a minute. And now you will see, hopefully on Saturday, if you can come with Morcego, is that right? Close? The cellist, the famous cellist, and a local poet. So there will be music and words, and I think it will be very special. Every city is special. We've done it in Vietnam and India, in the Arctic Circle with the First Nations community of 300 in a small village in the north. So I mean, many different ways to see the world through the eyes of the local people. Yeah.
I think so much contemporary film really relies on the sound that people stop looking in a way. I'd heard that there was a little game you could play where you close your eyes when you're at the cinema, and can you understand everything that's going on just by the soundtrack? And these films are really putting the image first, in a way that image was first at the beginning of cinema, when cinema was still silent. It was really about the rhythm of the city as seen through editing or the choice of shots. And so we're kind of bringing people back to that, to the beginnings of cinema when it was a very magical, universal language.
At the Echo Park Film Center, the Centro Sociale we have in Los Angeles, that's a cinema and a school and a retail space. It's many things, a co-op. Our motto early on was sell your TV and come to the cinema. And it's still this notion of communing with people, right? I feel like so much is in front of a flat screen. We are swiping, this sort of stuff. So come to the cinema for sure, support the festival, but let's take it even another layer, like this expanded cinema where multiple projections, bringing in live music, incorporating people in the city, like, because it's beautiful to sit and watch a film maybe made 3,000 miles away, but there's not always that connection. So I think here we're really building community, building commonality, building spirit together. So.
And I think this festival is a perfect fit. We don't always make the films for festivals. Sometimes we're just living in a community for 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months. This just happened to be, the vision of Garbine Ortega to invite us to say, we want a living document of this time and place in conjunction with the festival. That was just a brilliant idea on her behalf, and we're so grateful and honored to be part of this festival at this time. But to bring it all together in this way, we are living in a time where there's so many influences coming in as you were alluding to, there's music, there's poetry, there's images, there's sound, there's all these things happening at once. And this project is an opportunity to incorporate all those things in one place and to share it with an audience in a live way, to have the first time everyone will see this film together, the makers and the audience, is at the premiere. We are all seeing it for the first time together with that sound. And the experience will never be duplicated because we will never be here in this space again. And I think that's something that film allows us to do. It has a different relationship with time and to really be in the moment and celebrate who we are right now, right here, and it will never happen again. Those trees across the river, and I put it all the way onto infinity, and I zoom all the way in. So is that close?
Yeah.
As we alluded to, 15 projects all over the world. We've had punk bands, we've had DJs, we've had like a live singers, just voice. So each town reflects what they want, and always a local band, local musicians, local poets. So we'd love to get a live recording to feel that spirit, the applause, the coughs, the sneezes.
The babies crying, the
everything.
traffic, sometimes they're outside performances, sometimes inside. So yeah, to feel the room is...
To feel the room is beautiful. And if we have longer time, we've done this project in 24 hours, believe it or not, where we meet at 9, have a cafecito, and we walk in each hour past the camera, and then 24 hours later, finito, right? And then we're dead, distrutto. But here we have 3 weeks, tranquilo, it's nicer. We've had 4 months. In Rotterdam, we did the project. So depending on the time and the energy and the resources, sometimes the band, the musicians will go into a studio, record a very polished sound, and that we add to the soundtrack eventually for the internet and festivals. But we're not snobs about technology. Sometimes the spirit of the live is the best, and sometimes if you have the luxury of time, that's great too. So I think for this one, it really will be the spontaneity of the event, yeah.
But it will be recorded. You can see it later too. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a conversation we could have for about 4 hours. Every experience has been very moving and very powerful, and we do make a tight bond. We become a cinematic family for the time we're together. And I think it does change people's lives. It changes. One woman in England said she lived in the town for 30 years and she never felt it was her home until she did this project. We've had people marking very emotionally charged moments in their own life, the loss of children and parents and siblings. We've had people coming out as lovers on the film. We've had people marking places that are already disappeared. We live in such a fast-changing world that some of these buildings or sites or moments, they're already gone. So I think, again, it is heightened that sense of we are here now. Let's be here together. And let's hug and love and create and celebrate. And when we go our separate ways, we're still linked. But again, we'll never probably be together in this way in the future. So it's very moving.
People talk about the slow film movement in Italia, right? To eating food. And in España, it's also very similar, right? The reverence for eating, the reverence for time, for relationship with family, with peers. And we treat cinema like that. You slow down, like you said beautifully, like each filmmaker only had 90 seconds, right? To make 1 minute. So you're shooting 90 seconds and you chop it to un minuto esatto, right? So you have to really think about it. Plus they hand processed by hand in a bathroom with buckets. They took the film and so they touched it. They felt it almost like making spaghetti, una bella pasta. You're turning and you're touching, and then they hung the film and then they project it, right? So it's really that whole journey, you are in total control. If we could make the film stock ourselves with emulsion, we're trying different ways, then we really own the means of production, totally, so yeah.
And I think, yes, it does force people to slow down. And for some people, it does make them nervous. There's no second chances. We don't have the ability to go back and reshoot, or we're not doing any editing that is adding special effects. It's very faithful to how films would have been made in the 1920s. So what you see is what people shot. And, you can't view what you're shooting in the moment. You really have to have this trust and this faith in the process. And it also entails disasters, mistakes. I had this idea, I wanted to shoot in the sunshine. Today it's pouring rain, but I still need to do my shoot. So it's about being flexible, it's about trusting, it's about giving up a little bit. With digital, everything can be perfect. We can know exactly how it will look, how we want it to look. And with film, it's not like that. It's a living, breathing thing. And the film itself will change and degrade over time. It has a life cycle. So people really fall in love with the process. Some of the filmmakers have never even picked up a camera before, any kind of camera, so they're brand new. Some people, have only grown up with digital. Some people are returning to a form that maybe they loved in their younger days. So everyone has a different relation to it, but everyone really loves it when it's done, and they want to keep working in Super 8 or 16. And that's how we're going to keep these mediums alive, and that's why we're so excited about sharing it.
For me, Super 8, 16 is it's kind of like the first kiss you had when you were a teenager, and you never forget that kiss. So for me, we've gone on. We worked with Digital. We've worked in Hollywood. We've worked, taught at universities. We've done many, many things. But that first kiss, that first love, I never want to forget, and I want to share that passion with the world. And we're pragmatic. We understand you can make a film on your phone, and film does cost money, and it's not for everyone. And we're trying to make it equitable and affordable for people, but. It's just, there's a magic, there's a spirit, there's a love with cinema, but I would love to hear your thoughts. I mean, I think I know them, but I'd love to hear.
Because it's about love. It's about spending time with people and seeing the world through their eyes and really having that moment to connect. And it's just beautiful. It's the universal language, and we respond to film with our hearts in a way that I feel like we respond to digital with our minds, and we can recognize it, and it's beautiful. But when you see a film projected on film and the light is flickering and it's pulsing, and every frame is an organic moment in time that cannot be replicated, we respond with our hearts, and we feel that love, and we're connected as humans, and that's what it's all about.